When something bad happens to a driver, whether driving for Uber or Lyft, do you ever find yourself wondering, or at least asking the question, why don't the company do a bit more to help out the driver? Certainly some of us who often find ourselves in distress. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. I'm out here, as always, just like you find folks taking a few trips. I often bring you the news from a perspective of what's going on in the industry, but when I'm out here driving like I've been doing the last few days, I don't have as much time. But as I stated in the last video, just because we're not discussing the news doesn't mean news is not happening. And unfortunately, along the lines of ride sharing is a very dangerous way to earn a side hustle, another driver was carjacked yesterday. Now, this happened in Knoxville, Tennessee. Who the hell gets carjacked in Knoxville, Tennessee? I didn't know they'd get down like that. But a driver had a couple passengers in his vehicle, taking them to an apartment complex, and all of a sudden, out of no damn where, one of the passengers grabbed him, pulled out a pistol, told him to get the hell up out of the car, and took his smartphone. Now, there's two aspects to this story that I want to discuss, because it's not a typical carjacking, and make no mistake about it, if you engage in ride sharing, there are such thing as a typical carjacking. We can carjack so damn much, it's kind of the norm as opposed to the exception now. But this case, first of all, the driver was carjacked of a 2009 Honda. Who the hell drives a 2009 in ride sharing? I mean, who the hell carjacks a 2009 to begin with? Now, I'm not aware, but maybe some of my veteran drivers that have the information, let me know in the comments, what is the oldest vehicle you can use as a rideshare driver? I mean, 2009, what is that, like 14 years old? That car is, if you using it for a ride-sharing vehicle, so that vehicle's got to have well over 200,000 on the odometer. Hopefully it's reliable. Should you go out and carjack somebody of a 14-year-old economy car? You sure this is going to get you to where you need to get? You may actually get arrested because the car you stole broke down on the side of the road. But yeah, a 2009 Honda, which makes it clear what we have talked about on this channel before, is that folks are carjacking us of our vehicles to use them to commit secondary felonies. Clearly, nobody carjacks a 2009 Honda to take it to a chop shop or because they want to keep it. They're using that vehicle to go out and do another crime with. You know, that way you don't have to worry about the crime being traced back to you, because you're committing that secondary felony in a stolen vehicle. And that's likely what would have happened here. Unless there are some cases, and I used to know somebody who did this, grew up on the south side of Chicago. I knew some of the criminal element, a small amount of it, but if you had a vehicle and you needed a part, let's say for instance you had a 2009 Honda and your fuel pump went bad, or you needed, you know, an alternator or something like that, there are folks that will commit a serious felony like this just to get that part off the car. I knew people that were doing crazy shit like that. It's amazing at how little some people value their freedom and value life. So it could be a host of reasons why someone would carjack an individual of an old ass 2009 Honda, but nevertheless, that's exactly what happened. The second aspect of this is a little bit more upbeat, and this is why I asked in the beginning why the companies do not step in and do more to us drivers who are facing distressful situations. The guy in this story, Cody McClure or something like that from the article, that was carjacked, he was also he worked at Fox Sports. He was some type of news analyst or something like that. So he also had a day job. And because of what happened to him, his partner on radio, or whatever the case may be, actually took up a GoFundMe for the guy. Now, when you're talking about a 2009 Honda, you shouldn't have to raise a hell of a lot of money to replace that. I mean, How much can a 2009 Honda with a ton of miles being used for rideshare even be worth? So it is what it is. But shout out to his co-worker that took up a GoFundMe page. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is simple. Why don't the companies do more for us drivers that face these situations? At this point, they could get an insurance company that when something like this happens, they kick in a little throwback to the driver. And I'm talking, when I say an insurance company, I mean one that the driver doesn't have to contribute to. If the driver got to contribute to it, then you're not doing shit for the driver. That's him buying his own damn insurance. But for rideshare drivers that are kidnapped or in some cases raped or killed, because I've done stories on a host of us that have been killed and some sexually assaulted, the company themselves, out of the kindness of their damn heart, should look out for the drivers. After all, most of us are not making a whole lot of money and taking a hell of a lot of risk to even make money on this as a side hustle for a company that's making millions, if not billions of dollars on the backs of our labor. Look out for a guy owning a 2009 Honda. You could damn near replace that for a few grand. I mean, the company should do a little bit more. I get how some folks may feel about this, but it just really sucks because you know any driver that gets carjacked, get their ass beat, which often happens too, get their ass beat by passengers or sexually assaulted or injured, they can't drive for a while. Their source of income is going to diminish until they get their car back. Or in some cases, we've done stories on drivers getting their shit shot up. All of them folks are out of a job, out of a way of earning income until all of that is resolved. And in regards to being carjacked, you may be out of the game for a minute because now you got to replace a whole damn car. So the company seemed like they would show a little morality. I know I'm asking for a hell of a lot from companies like Uber and Lyft, but what do you folks think? And by the way, have you ever heard of a story where the rideshare company stepped in to help a single driver that went through something that was in distress? I don't think I've covered one single story. I don't think I've heard of one story where the company stepped in to help somebody that faced a horrible circumstance. Almost everything we get from rideshare, it has to be either fought for through legislation and having laws passed, or we have to sue their ass. They don't do a damn thing simply out of being kind, even if a driver is raped, robbed, or carjacked, which happens often. Let your boy know in the comments, but also curious, how old can your vehicle be and you still can take trips? 2009, wow. It's your boy Tim. Subscribe to the channel, click the like bell, and I'll see you in the next video.